All right, this is truly a special day for Coach Jay and me. Today's guest to the Fly Shields Fly Pod has been in the coaching game for over 40 years, having touched every level. A Maryland native, starting his coaching journey in Maryland, first as an assistant at Brooklyn Park High School and getting his first head coaching gig at Southwestern High School in Baltimore. He turned a winless program into a winner, drawing the attention of local Morgan State that started a 25-plus year career in the FCS D1AA HBCU orbit. Over this time, he served in various capacities on offense, including quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, special teams, and you already know it, offensive coordinator. From Morgan State to Southern, Tennessee State, Alabama A&M, Hampton, back to Tennessee State, Alabama State, where the Holy Defenders Trinity formed of coaches Barlow, Keiss, and Harris, and finally as OC at Alcorn State, compiling 4 SWAC championships, 3 Black College National Championships, and 1 Celebration Bowl championship. He faded off into the coaching sunset, settling down in Tennessee with his family and dialing up plays for the Good Pasture Christian School Cougars until Coach Barlow shined the bat signal and brought his talents up to defend the district when the XFL relaunched in 2023. This is where he enters our story. He has led a balanced player-first offensive attack centered around the dual threat spring GOAT Jordan Teamu in D.C., resulting in a 2023 XFL championship appearance and 2025 UFL championship. Like 21st century philosopher Natasha Bedingfield has said, the rest, though, is still unwritten as we pursue the repeat. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. HBCU coaching legend, lifelong member of the Plate Callers Club, coaching role model to your beloved Fly Shields Fly hosts, and offensive coordinator of our DC Defenders, up in the booth as cool as ice, Coach Fred Keiss.
Wrap it up.
I need to make I need to make you my agent.
That
I
could
was
be
gonna
your alarm in
say
the morning if you want it.
that was hands down the best one you've done so far. You had a lot to work with. You had a 40-year career to work with, a bunch of championships, all levels, like you said. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
So Coach, I want to go all the way back to the beginning here. Me and Coach Jay here, we started a program in North Philadelphia, and I was combing through some 1990s newspapers and saw that when you got your first head coaching job at Southwestern, there was a little bit of controversy with the students, a boycott, if you will, because you weren't hired from within the building. You weren't a teacher in the building. Can you talk about how you were able to earn the trust of those players and the community and the parents, and then
I'll
and
tell
then
you
build
what,
that
you've
up?
done your homework now. That was seems like years
Yeah,
ago. Honestly, it wasn't because I wasn't in the building. Uh,
Okay.
there was only it was in inner city Baltimore, and there was one white instructor in the building. But when I came from outside, and of course, I think I had one white player. All the players black, and they were familiar with their teachers and stuff, and they didn't know me, so they had boycotted for that reason. They did want to have the JV coach move up. He wasn't in the building either, but he had been with the team for a while. So yeah, I didn't have very many players the first year, and when they boycotted, they all played for him. When I took the job, he was still going to be the JV coach. That was part of the deal, and so most of my juniors, the seniors boycotted the juniors and went and played on the JV. So I had a bunch of freshmen and sophomores the first year. And then the second year, because we had a good first year, we went 5-5 and they didn't win a game in 3 years. So we went 5-5. We were happy with that. But then the second year, they all wanted to come up, of course. I wouldn't allow it. I just wouldn't allow it. I let the sophomores and the freshmen become, juniors and sophomores, and we had a heck of a season. We did really well. What did I do? I just believed in them. I just gave them confidence. So I kept it really simple, really simple. I just think they liked the attention to detail we were getting, and the fact that, I believed in them. Tried to instill confidence in them. And I thought they did a heck of a job. I still hear from some of them every once in a while. Of grown men, and in their probably late 40s, 50s. But yeah, but I still hear from them every once in a while. So it's a good feeling.
Coach, that's an incredible story. Thanks for diving deeper into it. It sounds like you really had to build relationships in the midst of a decent amount of turmoil. And then you went on to be at HBCUs. You've gone on to be obviously at the UFL, the XFL. Can you talk a little bit about how you as a coach are able to build relationships with 14 and 15-year-olds as well as you are with 20 and 30-year-olds? Like what does that look like for you, and how do you do it as Coach Keiss?
Well, I tell you what, uh, uh, again, when I started in the high school level, they didn't know me, so they didn't know who I was, or were. So it wasn't their fault that they boycotted. All they knew was the people in their local area.
Yeah.
But when I went into coaching, and it was, I got the opportunity because we had a good season. I went to Morgan State. We weren't very good. But I was ranked in the nation in passing and receiving, and I was the coordinator. And our defensive coordinator turned me on to somebody that hired me, and off I went. But a lot of people could say, coaching in black college, why did you stay? Why did you do this? Did you ever get a chance? I truly think it was a blessing. It made me such a better coach. I'm a solid Christian guy, but we would we were in the summer, we would always go to church every Sunday. Most college teams do, and we would change different church each week. So, I got black church and white church is different. It's very different,
Yeah,
and
it is.
I'm telling you, and some of them are Six Mount Zion, some of them were Baptist, some of them, but so when I got to see that and I got to know them through that way, uh, it made a totally difference, again, when you want to get to know your players and you want to learn them, they're going to listen to different music than you. They're going to go to different churches. And I think it really helped me develop as a teacher, because you got to get down, when you're teaching, there's 1,000 ways to teach, but if they're not getting it, you need to change how you're teaching. Everybody learns differently. We're not all robots. And I think learning and getting to know through Black College really helped me a lot. It really did. Because again, everybody's different. It opened up a whole new world for me as far as some of the things I had to do differently, or some of the things that the music they listened to, the church they went to, and it was truly a blessing for me. It really was. I think it has really helped me in my career without question, because you learn to relate to everybody, and if you want to coach football, you better be able to relate to everybody. So
Mm.
that's not a plus. That's a given. You have to. If you can't, you're not going to get through to them.
You've been in the
So,
game
so Coach, I
for
have
a
a
while.
football.
Go ahead, Rob. Actually, Mars, let me
Long
go.
time.
I got a quick
Long
follow
time.
up on that. You've been
Yeah,
in it
go
for
get
a
it.
long time, and in that time, the game has changed, and the way coaches coach players has changed. Can you talk about some of the things, one, that have stayed the same, and two, what are some of the biggest changes that you've noticed in the game in your time?
Well, the biggest change, Coach Harris and I were just talking about it the other day. Of course, we ride to work together every day. I stay with him in his house here in Arlington, uh, and we've always had athletic quarterbacks. We've always wanted to go tempo. We were doing tempo, just not nowhere near as fast as we do now. But we were doing tempo 20, 25 years ago when I first started with it. Coach Harris and he was my number one assistant for 19 years. So we know each other inside out. We were saying how many defensive coaches or how many head coaches that we worked for that didn't like it. It was always, protect the football, don't turn it over, and let the defense win. And it's a different game now. I mean, it's now everybody wants athletic quarterbacks. Everybody, wants to have explosive plays. Everybody wants to speed it up. And back then we used to fight and fight and fight them because no, you can't do that. No, I don't want to do that. And so the game on that aspect has really changed. Really changed. Quarterbacks are super athletes. Uh, the thing that hasn't changed, discipline. You've got to have a disciplined football team. If you're not disciplined, You're going to make mistakes. If you're not disciplined, you're going to hurt the team in some aspect. I mean, you still have to have a disciplined team. You have to, you have to be disciplined. You have to understand that you don't have to get in the other gap if that's not your gap. You don't have to, change my route because this guy, no, it's a team game. And, especially on offense, defense can get away with something because they also, go to the tackle. But on offense, one guy screws up and the whole play's done. So you just can't. So it's a team game.
Mm. Mm. Thank you for that, Coach. So I had initially a football thought that turned into kind of on topic here with this emphasis on relationships. So, as an offensive line coach, I'm curious about how an offensive coordinator, how a play caller collaborates with your offensive line coach for the game plan. But then I also realized that Coach Braswell is one of your former players as well at Hampton. So I'm wondering, one, if you could speak to that collaboration, but two, specifically your relationship. And you mentioned knowing Coach Harris. You guys knowing each other like the back of your hand. If you could speak to the game planning portion of it, but also just that relationship with a former player that's now a colleague.
But I tell you what, I would still be coaching if you weren't surrounding yourself with good people like Coach Harris, Coach Braswell, all of them. But when you've been coaching this long, all the hours it takes, and you guys know, film study. I mean, you put a lot of hours in as a coach, a lot of hours. You better like the guys you're working with, because if you're not getting along with the guys you're working with all them hours, it's not going to work. When we got Coach Braswell last year, it was the last minute. God really blessed me. He was coaching in Maryland for a long time, and they just got released. Before that, he was with the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. And we became friends. And Coach Harris, because of being around me so long, he was really good friends with Braz. So when I called him up, because it was actually the week before our first game that our O-line coach took another job, and they had somebody that we're bringing in. I just didn't feel comfortable. I didn't really know the guy, and I asked Coach Barlow to give me a second, give me a chance, and I made the call, and Braz came right on down, and he's really, really good. He is really good, just like Coach Harris is the best quarterback in coaching and I've ever met. Coach Braswell does a really, really good job. It's great because when you're in this league in the UFL, you have small staffs. I mean, I have 3 assistants. That's it. It used to be that Coach Harris was my right-hand man, so he still coaches the quarterbacks. He still does the 7-on-7 and stuff. We've split it up still, but Coach Braswell really is strong in the run game for me, and it's a checks and balances things, so when I'm in college and we had a full staff, you got all these coaches, somebody's got red zone, somebody's got third down, somebody's got blah, 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 so there's a lot, that you can dish out, but not in a small staff, so he really helps me to get a checks and balances on the run game. He's smart, he's sharp, he's an NFL coach. There's a reason why I coached in the NFL for quite a few years, and he's still young, but we have a lot of fun together.
Amazing.
I really hear you
Coach,
when
is there
you
anything you want to
say
leave us with?
no to me. Oh, go ahead, Jay. Bring us home.
We got to wrap things up,
Sorry.
but I just wanted to give Coach Keiss a chance to leave something for the fans, leave something for the DC Defenders fan base before we wrap this episode up.
Well, I'm sure they're upset with me because we didn't look very good last week. But, we still had 420 yards of offense, 13 explosive plays. Unfortunately, we had 5 turnovers, and you're not going to win with 5 turnovers. We had traded our number 2 quarterback to that same team that we had to play, and then we got to turn around and play them this week. I didn't think he would be giving them, because we were helping him. He wanted to play. He wanted to be traded. He thought he should be a starter. So we were helping him so he could go to another team and see if he is a true starter in the league. I surely wasn't going to rotate with Jordan Ta'amu. I mean, I love Jordan. He's phenomenal. So we get granted him his wishes, and boy, obviously they were on to a lot of things I was doing, but when it is what it is. So I made adjustments. I think we have a million excuses why we didn't play well, but they're all excuses. The bottom line is we've had a great week of practice. I think we're going to play extremely well.
Amazing. Loved having you on, Coach. Let's get it done this week.
How'd you guys
Good luck
become
in
DC
Louisville.
Defenders fans in Philly?
We don't have a
So
team.
Philly didn't have a team, and
Oh,
I jumped on early. And I'm a social studies teacher, so I love DC. We were coaching together. I got him on, made him watch games with me, and here we are.
yeah. Well, you
So
guys
Locked
are
in.
both
I love the
impressive. You've
spring
done
ball
your
league.
homework.
I love
Uh,
it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, stay in touch with me. I'd love to talk to you again sometime.
I appreciate
Sounds
it,
good,
Coach.
Coach. We'll have
You're
you
a
back.
great role model for us, and shields
All right.
up.
Thank you.
Shields up, mics down. Thanks for checking in for another episode of the Fly Shield Flies podcast. And shout out to Coach Keiss, an absolute
Cool as ice, baby. Cool as kite.